Hi Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope for September 2024. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to do the horoscopes differently this time, so please watch them in this order. Rising sign first, then sun sign, and finally moon sign. I'm based in the UK, so please note that my horoscopes are based on the UK time zone. And the way I'm going to do this, I'll break down September into 4 different weeks, and I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing. The moon stays in each sign of the zodiac for about 2.5 days. So in any given week, it's in 3 or 4 signs, and that has a really strong influence on the week. But I'll also have a look at which one of your houses it moves through, because that will show what area of your life this energy will show up in. So the first bit of good news for September is that Mercury, the communication planet, has gone direct. So if you had any issues with transportation or communication in August, or if you were even a little self-critical, expect that to ease off now. So week 1 is Sunday to Sunday, 1st to 8th of September 2024. And when I say beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week, for beginning I mean Monday, Tuesday, middle, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. End of the week is Saturday, Sunday. So we start this week with the moon being in Virgo, and it's in your 3rd house of communication. So Cancer, anything that you need to do that involves paperwork, contracts, mediations, anything to do with red tape, officialdom, visa applications, do any of those things right at the very beginning of September. What's also interesting is that on the 2nd of September, we have Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, that has retrograded back into Capricorn. And it will stay in Capricorn now until the 19th of November 2024, and then it goes back into Aquarius, where it's been since January, until February 2044. So we've got a 20-year era ahead of us, with this being the last time that Pluto goes into Capricorn. Check out the separate video I made on that, because it's really significant. In your case, here in September, it retrogrades into Capricorn in your 7th house of relationships. And what you may question is, what are my relationships? Am I happy with these relationships, or do I want to work at creating different ones? With all the Virgo energy in your 3rd house, you may feel like it's okay for you to make really big decisions about particularly your relationships. And by that, I mean your personal and your more professional relationships, colleagues, friends, partners. You'll get a really clear insight into what takes you a lot of work, and where you're giving a lot, and what you're actually getting in response. So, a transactional relationship isn't obviously the ideal, but if there are any major imbalances in your life where you have another person and you're doing 99% of the work and getting 1% in return, that's the kind of thing you'll become very aware of, and you can then make changes around that. That kind of assessment mode peaks on the 3rd of September, which is when we have a new moon in Virgo. And for you, again, Cancer, this is wonderful because it happens in your 3rd house of communication and perspective, and the way you decide and the way you see the world. You've also got Vesta, which is the inner flame, the hearth, and the transiting midheaven, which is your work, in that 3rd house of communication. So this is not just a time when you examine your relationships and whether they're in order and working as they ought to, but I also feel that you examine what knowledge you have, what expertise you've gained in your life through study and through being around, and what can you do with that to express it in a way that's going to help other people. Something big happens on the 4th of September, which is that Mars, the planet of ambition and drive, it leaves Gemini and it starts to go into your sign of Cancer and stays there for the rest of the month. So Mars is what I want, right? And in Cancer, it can often be very frustrated because Cancer, your sign, is about the home and your most important relationships and what gives you a sense of being nurtured. At the same time, you've got Venus in Libra, in your 4th house of family. Venus is the mother, love, beauty, creativity, sexuality. So a big chunk of September is focused on your closest relationships and how you can enjoy those. But the amazing thing is that you're not going to just take things and assume that something was positive, even if it was borderline. Your critical faculties are involved in here. And on some level, I really think this is an opportunity to weed out relationships that just cause you pain and grief. And it's the opportunity to strengthen and enjoy the relationships that actually do serve you. So in the middle of the week, on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of September, we have the moon in Libra. That's a great time for family relationships. And then by the end of the week, the 6th and 7th, the moon goes into Scorpio, and that moves into your 5th house of what you love and what you're passionate about, and family and children, and what gives you a sense of, I'm nurturing my inner child and I'm doing things that I enjoy. The moon in Scorpio is very intense. It's very intuitive. It's very good at connecting. So by the weekend of the first week, you'll want to have a close relationship with someone. So if you're in a relationship already, it's a great weekend to just get away. But if you're single, it's also a good time to go on dates and to meet new people. It's a time where you will have an immediate emotional reaction that you can then trust and take action on. So should I see this person again or not? You'll know exactly what it is you want to do there. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 9th to 15th of September 2024. We start this week with the moon being in Sagittarius, and that's in your 6th house of everyday routine, structure, your physical health, the kind of things in your life that you rely on that are consistent. And Sagittarius is a sign that's about passion and expansion and growth. And with the moon going through your 6th house here on the 9th and 10th, there may be a desire to escape your circumstances as they are, to do something new, something that's fun, not to just be focused on work and improving your relationships. But these 2 days are great for things like sightseeing or reading a book just for the fun of it, or looking at different courses that you can study that you're interested in. At the beginning of the second week, on the 9th of September, we have Mercury, the communication planet, that enters Virgo until the 26th of September. So for the majority of September Cancer, you're really blessed because the communication planet loves being in the 3rd house of communication and ideas and perspective. And it's also in the sign that it rules, Virgo, which is when the switch is on the inward position and Mercury says, hit me, give me as much info as possible. I want to break it all down, make sense of it, and create meaning. So out of all of the signs, Cancer, you're really the luckiest and most blessed when it comes to gaining understanding around what's going on in your life, what you know and what other people don't know, and how you can bridge that gap. So any Cancers who want to write or teach, or you want to find your life purpose as it relates to work, the second week of September here is really, really helpful for that. Once we've got the moon in Sag and then in Capricorn, yep. On the 11th of September, we have the moon in its second quarter, and that's at 22 degrees. So that's a day where you're going to say, do you know what, the everyday routine here, I've been looking at my relationships, I've also been looking at what I know and how I can use that in a working way. The second quarter is really, what can I build in my life independently that may be somewhat unconventional, that expresses my knowledge, my truth, and how can I go about doing that? So maybe I should write a book, or maybe I want to present a course, or maybe I want to do a video or something like that. You'll want to capture your insights. In the middle of the week, on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of September, the moon is in your 7th house. So that goes back to, I want to focus on my relationships, but now I want to do as much work as I can on them. And remember, with Mars being in Cancer in your 1st house, that's going to be a big theme anyway, that I want to make my relationships the best way they can be. But here on the 11th, 12th, 13th, it may be a bit too much of a good thing, because you're going to say, I have to do all the work in order for a relationship to function. So that's a good day to actually pay attention and to say, do you know what, how much do I give in this situation and how much do I get out of it naturally? And let's see if that's balanced or not. Then on the 14th and 15th, the moon goes into Aquarius in your 8th house. And those 2 days are wonderful for you to pitch some sort of an idea that you need a company to action. So let's say you've got a patent on an invention of yours and you want to now get it built by some company. To make those connections, to write, to email, to present. It's also a good day, not just to get your foot in the door, to collaborate with some sort of big institution, but it's also a good time for you to teach. And again, for you to understand something that may not be common knowledge, and for you to recognize that you have specialist expertise in a particular field and that you can transform that somehow into a paying job. And what's interesting is that in this second week, the moon goes through houses 6, 7, and 8. And that's really my work, the people involved in my work, and also work on a larger level, as in a number of people who've combined to create some sort of community or organization or institution. So what can I do? What connections can I make to slot into these larger groups? So again, manuscripts that should be published, job applications, TED Talks, presentations, anything like that is really supported in the second week. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, 16th to 22nd of September. The moon is now in Pisces in your 9th house. And this is a great day, the 16th particularly, for spiritual research and meditation and looking at what you don't know just yet and asking your guides for help. On the 17th of September, we've got a supermoon, which is the second supermoon in a row. We had one recently. And a supermoon is a full moon that is closer to the Earth, so it looks much bigger than usual, and it influences us more. But this isn't just a full moon, supermoon in Pisces, it's also a lunar eclipse on the North Node. And eclipses, the influences of those can be felt for about 6 months. For you, this happens in your 9th house of the higher realms, philosophy, metaphysics, academia, the world, learning, exploring. And it's in between Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn is structure and Neptune is the water planet of dreams. So Cancer, you're going to get a lot of specific information that you can download, then break down and make meaning of via all the Virgo stuff you've got in your 3rd house. So if you're a spiritual teacher or a motivational speaker, or you're someone who wants to get a curriculum together, or someone who wants to express their own spiritual view of the world and the universe and what it all means, you guys here around this supermoon are really being blessed with a lot of practical, concrete information that you can copy down, record. It's almost dictated to you, and that's going to have a very healing impact on the people you then express that to. And that could show up in a number of ways. It could be a self-help book, it could be a painting, it could be, I don't know, a quality that you now realize you have in your friendships that can comfort others. Anything like that, you will receive something fabulous around the 17th. Once the moon goes out of Pisces, it goes into Aries in the middle of the week, so 18th, 19th, 20th of September. And there it's in your 10th house of work. And those few days are wonderful for you to get things done in work, but also in a larger sense to heal something about your job that is difficult or causes you pain, or even bigger, this is a number of days where you can find it very easy to break out of your existing job and to look for other roles and to make a huge shift in that regard. And then finally, the last 2 days, end of the week, 21st, 22nd, the moon is in Taurus and it's in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So that's a good time just to enjoy everything that you've already worked so hard for. If you're able to be out in nature, if you're able to connect with friends, family members, to do something that really is based on actions you've taken in the past, giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, I got myself here, well done, let me celebrate myself. So in this 3rd week, the moon goes through houses 9, 10, and 11, and that's really the very top of your chart, and it's prompting you to look at what is it that I know, how can I translate that into work to realize my hopes and dreams. On the 22nd of September, we've got the sun going into Libra, and the sun goes into Libra in your 4th house of family. So relationships, particularly the closest relationships that you've got, aren't going to cause you a lot of problems. There's likely to be a lot of balance here. And the last week of September for you, the whole week is an opportunity to enjoy the good relationships, again, that you've built in the past. Week 4, Monday to Sunday, 23rd to 30th of September 2024. We start with the moon now being in Gemini in your 12th house, and that's next to Jupiter, the planet of good fortune and growth and good luck. So again, this is another spiritual visitation where you're likely to download a lot of useful info that you can then share with other people, and it may be designed to heal their experience in some way. So really pay attention to what the universe offers you. On the 23rd of September as well, we've got Venus, the planet of love, beauty, creativity. That goes into Scorpio until the 17th of October. So now you're really going to be interested in romantic relationships, in physical connection and intimacy. The last week of September is going to be very important in that regard. So if you're in a relationship, try and take some time off during the last week of the month just to enjoy each other's company. But if you don't get some sort of intense moment of connection, there may be frustration and irritability, and you may start to blame people for things that have nothing to do with them. So make sure that if you're in a relationship, you get some time to yourself. If you're single, that you spend particularly the last week of September going on dates. You won't find it difficult to discover who you have chemistry with and who you don't have chemistry with. The moon's in its 4th quarter on the 24th, and that's right on your ascendant next to Jupiter. So this is really the rebirth of some sort of brilliant new spiritual idea that again can be analyzed by you and translated into some sort of healing method. And on the 26th of September, Mercury, the communication planet, ingresses into Libra until the 13th of October. So the last week of September until the middle of October, really. Expect to have good relationships and to not have to deal with a lot of drama and chaos. And instead, you're able to go deeper and focus on those relationships where you really want to be very close to another person and where there can be intimacy. So the first few days of the last week, the moon is in Gemini. I mentioned that. Then on the 26th and 27th, it goes into Cancer in your first house of self, and it sits next to the moon in Cancer. So those are days where you'll really want to be appreciated, or you'll want to experience that someone cares for you in return. You know, the interesting thing about this, Cancer, is that this is a week where you can really come to certain conclusions, but at the same time, you also do have this need to connect with people in a meaningful way. So it's a chance for you to create space where right now there isn't any, and you're just dealing with difficulties. And it's the ability to make the tough decision to say, I'm going to let go of that and have faith and trust that I can replace this with someone or something better. And I really think that's what you're prompted to do here, because once we've got Mercury going into Libra, the moon goes into Leo at the very end of the month on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and that's in your second house of money. And that's an opportunity to celebrate a wonderful relationship that now is in your life. Or it's the opportunity to really take up the spotlight, to present, to lead in terms of business, and to get something going that's very rewarding, and that then feels like a cause for celebration. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with in September. If you'd like me to have a look at your natal chart, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And to draw up your natal chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, that's not a problem. Then please order one of the chart rectifications with me. That's a process where I manually work out your time of birth. And that's kind of important because the chart changes every 4 minutes. So the closer the time is, the better. Check out some of my other videos, the videos on the new moons, the full moons. I also do a daily tarot reading on this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Hit subscribe for more videos and share the video online. Have an amazing September, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.